we were always really intrigued by conversational user experience. So making it more of a conversation like you would have on the phone with your advisor, rather than here's a load of questions that we need answered.
Today I'm joined by Daniel Heeley, lead UX designer and developer at Mojo Mortgages. Hey Daniel.
Hey.
Welcome, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So to jump straight into it, what is Mojo Mortgages?
So Mojo Mortgages is essentially a company that uses tech and humans to bring the best experience to someone looking for a mortgage or someone looking to remortgage.
Okay. And then where does the human element come into it?
So the human element is sort of using experts, advisors, to basically, obviously you have the product, the technology that is the website, onboard the user, the experience of finding results that our technology sorts, and then the advisor is there to sort of recommend and advise on which is the best product for that user. And then going forward, you have your customer success manager that's with you throughout the whole process from start to finish of getting a mortgage.
Okay. And what is your role at Mojo? What do you do on a day-to-day?
Yeah, so my role is a lead UX engineer. So basically, it can range from a couple of things. So research to testing, user testing to implementation of design, to building the UI in the front end. So yeah, quite a broad range.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting for we like to talk to our guests about their journey to where they are. So for any sort of newbies who want to kind of get to this place, to see the vast varieties of journeys people take to get to where they are. So talk to us through like where your UX design develop journey started.
Yeah, so I started out as a web design contractor.
Okay.
Who sort of like where I started, and then just sort of built it up from there. Had a couple of clients, and then ended up working for Pets at Home. Okay. So from there, I spent just over a year there, and then that's when I started at Mojo Mortgages.
Nice. So how long has it been at Mojo?
Almost 4 years, like 3 years, 8 months maybe. Yeah.
And how long has the company been about?
So I first started and the company was Life's Great, and then Mojo I think has been about for 2.5 years. Okay. 2 years. Yep.
Wow. So one of like the early day ones.
Yeah.
And could we get like a rundown of how your design team looks, how your product team looks?
Yeah. So basically, instead of like a traditional design team, we have squads.
Okay.
So we have the customer experience squad, where Tom, the product designer, and myself, we sit with the CX squad, and then we have a platform squad, and then an operations squad, and basically sort of product feeds into that. So we have product owners. Okay. We have a product owner for the CX squad, we have a product owner for the platform and the operations. So everything that we do in terms of research and everything like that is done away from the squad, but obviously we involve people throughout the design sprint process, and then sort of that work gets prioritized on the backlog, and then the CX squad or the platform squad or whichever squad picks it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so could we walk, because there's like a lot of sort of like cogs and moving parts here, could you walk us through what a design sprint looks like? Is there like an overall design sprint, or is there like a design sprint for each squad?
Yeah. So at the moment, there's no actual defined process. We're sort of like defining that process at the moment, but we've tried a lot of different things, and we're currently in a nice working flow at the moment. So we've done a couple of design sprints around implementing what we call My Mojo, which is the account section. Okay. So doing all the analysis, research, and design for that was done in a design sprint format. Okay. So the typical 5 days, everyone gets in a room, works out a solution to a problem, and then we create tasks for that backlog to implement it.
Okay. And can we get like a brief breakdown of what the demographic of Mojo is?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. So basically, there's not one specific demographic we can target. Okay. It's more like we want to make getting a mortgage the easiest process possible. So that could be someone looking for the first time they're buying a house or their first home. to someone who's looking to remortgage that has already been through a remortgage 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
So we just want to make that experience as easy as possible and sort of cater for everyone.
Okay. So you won't say you target a specific demographic space.
No.
Anyone who needs a mortgage.
Mojo
Mortgage should be able to cater to them.
Or even people that are, say, not ready to get a mortgage and they need coaching on what they need to do to be able to get a mortgage. Okay. We want to target them people as well.
Makes sense. And similar products in the market, who are the guys you compete against? What sets you apart from those guys?
Yeah, so the obvious ones are Habito and Trussell. What sets us apart from them is our mortgage matches. Okay. So basically the way that we source a mortgage product for a user, the way we display that result to the user at the end as well. So we choose the best overall for that fixed period. So someone for a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year fixed period, you will be shown the best product for the annual cost rather than just the cheapest monthly payment. But if you do want to sort by cheapest monthly payment, we can do that.
You allow that as well.
Yeah.
Sweet. And I guess before we get too sort of dug down into the top level stuff, it would be good to kind of jump into the journeys that we have here and really sort of like dissect how Mojo Mortgages actually work. So I guess the first one we'll jump into now is the eligibility journey, where you find us is during the eligibility check, which essentially just tries to find out if you are able to pay for a mortgage, and then it takes you through a range of very personal questions, and then after that, what happens is you get taken to a create account screen, I believe, and then after that, you're then able to jump into a mortgage match.
Exactly.
So I guess the first thing for me I wanted to ask was, you have kind of like this incremental question asking process, where you often see it as maybe like 1 or 2 questions, then some form of pagination, or get just one whole form. One whole long form with all the questions, maybe across 1 or 2 pages. Why have you chosen this like very sort of step-by-step revealing one question at a time process?
So the approach to the way we ask questions and get the answers is basically throughout the process, the very start of what we did, we were always really intrigued by conversational user experience. So making it more of a conversation like you would have on the phone with your advisor, rather than here's a load of questions that we need answered to be able to give you this sort of result. So it was sort of like, what could be the nicest and easiest way for someone to read the question, give us an answer, and then move on to the next section without getting overwhelmed with the amount of questions, because asking for mortgages and stuff like that, there's so many questions.
Yeah, so we've in the Pulse team recently worked on an onboarding process for a client, and it's something that me and Will White from the company was talking about, the legislation and compliance sort of, I won't call it a battle, but a bit of a duel that you have to have. There's certain things that you need to include in the process. What difficulties or what kind of encounters have you had with like compliance in order to make to have to include in your designs?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's been quite a smooth process because we involve compliance quite early on. Okay. So what we can and cannot do in terms of gathering data and using that data, obviously GDPR and everything like that, we had to be prepared for that. But yeah, it's been quite a smooth process. There's obviously some bits that we push back on, there's some bits that they push back on. But we always found a middle ground of like, this is the perfect experience in terms of compliance and what we want to do. Yeah,
makes sense, because I think for us, we found a big issue with, especially at like this eligibility before the actual onboarding begins, trying to not ask too many questions without to not make the user feel overloaded. And I think for us, that was quite an arduous task, going back and forth and trying to, as you said, like push back on certain things. If we ask this, the user might feel a bit taken away by that. But it's good to see that you guys from early struck a balance and was able to kind of
I think there's a fine balance between the questions you want to ask, the questions you want to ask for experience reasons, the questions you want to ask for data reasons, for like eligibility, it needs to be accurate. And then you need to be compliant. How do you use our data? So if we want to do a soft search or anything like that, we have to say, have you read our terms and conditions? Have you also agreed to for us to do a soft search. This won't affect your credit rating. They have to click that button to say, yes, I've read it, and yes, I'm happy for you to do a soft search. So, yeah.
Also, something that we were going back and forth over in one of our projects was the placement of benefits. So I guess you guys have it at the end where, as you are creating an account, it kind of lists out, I guess, the benefits of the Mojo mortgage process. We went back and forth over, do we place it at the beginning because this is the first step, and surely showing them the reasons why they should would be perfectly placed at the beginning. Why did you guys choose to place it, I guess, at the end of eligibility?
Yeah, so this is sort of a process we're going through at the moment. So everything we're doing is sort of research led, and we're always testing as we go along. So in terms of putting the benefits at the start, or the benefits halfway through the journey, or the benefits at the end, we're trying to figure out which is the best place for them to go. At the moment, we've chose at the end because it's working for us. The conversions are good, and we're not setting too many expectations that we can't meet at the very start. So we want to give the user value at the very start. We want to give them trust, everything like that. To be able to start the journey, we want to give them context as to why they're here, why are they filling out these questions, and then when they do get the results, give them context around what does this result mean, and what are we going to do going forward to help you get this mortgage.
Makes sense. And something else we were we're going back and forth over the placement of is create accounts placement. So you create account at the end of eligibility. So for us, we were going back and forth because one of our features we were trying to include was a saving feature. But you're not able to save unless you create an account, or so do you want people to create an account at the beginning? But then we found in testing that people find it a bit too much of a commitment to have to create an account if I'm just kind of trying to check if I'm eligible. We'd like to know your thoughts on what you guys went through in order to create an account somewhere.
So creating an account it's a hard one. It's sort of, you want to give someone enough value to be able to sign up, but you don't want to give them too much value that they're like, okay, I've got everything I need, I'm just going to go somewhere else. So there's a real fine balance between the two. So for us, we felt that having sign up right before someone was about to get the result, being able to save their data in a secure way was the most important thing. So in terms of asking the questions, we're going through a process at the moment of refining them questions and making them easier and give the user more value off less questions. But in terms of where the sign up goes, we're also going to test where we want that as well. So everything that we do is sort of test led. Heavy amount of research is done. We gather as much data as we can. We fill in the data gaps, and then we say, okay, here's what we think our hypothesis is if we put the sign up there. But going forward, we'll definitely be testing
it back and forth.
Exactly.
Makes sense. And I guess the next part of the journey we want to jump into is, I guess, after eligibility, the onboarding journey, which we'll look at now. So once again, we jump in sort of further into the journey. You asked a number of questions, basically around your house situation. Something I find really cool as well that I want to dig into is you append the house at the top of this onboarding journey. If you what you see in the top right-hand corner. Me personally, I wanted to ask why? Why did you append the journey? Like, was there some
address?
The address. At the top right hand side. Was that part of testing? Did that come out and people were like, oh, I forgot where I live or something? So
basically, we saw that as a delighter feature.
Okay.
So as we evolve My Mojo, which will be the account section, within My Mojo, you'll have the ability to have multiple applications. So it's just nice to give the user context during the journey. So if you go back and say you've just halfway through one application, you finish the other one, and then you're sort of going through the question, you're thinking, okay, what is this referring to? It's just a nice delighter to say, okay, here's the address, and then as that evolves, we'll add more information to it, like possibly a map to see where that house is, or transport links, everything like that. We did test a while back in terms of more delighter features, like schools nearby and everything like that, but obviously the main focus for us was mortgages and not house hunting sort of thing.
Also, if you recall, on the left-hand side of the page, you have each section that you're going through, and then you append how long each section takes in minutes. Where did that come from?
So basically, we were trying to figure out how we were going to give the user as much context at the start as possible.
Yeah.
So say like an example would be if you're on your lunch break at work, you're thinking, okay, I want to have a remortgage on my house. It's coming up in 6 months. I want to know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Oh, so to do all these sections, it's going to take me 15 minutes. To do this and this and this section, it's going to take me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it sort of gives them the opportunity to say, oh, I can get this amount done at my lunch, and then when I go home, I can do the rest, sort of thing. And then it's sort of like the first step to us creating a journey where we give the user context on progression as well. So introducing a progression bar at the top is really important to us. Yeah. It's what we're figuring out how to do now. And also creating within my Mojo an account section, which will tell them how far through each section they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the main focus.
So I find it interesting that you were able to sort of tell people how long beforehand they were able to go through the journey.
Yeah.
Does that take into account, let's say, so use cases that we came up with, for example, was if I don't know someone's information, does that take into consideration that you might have to go look for these, or is it on the assumption that you have all of this information available?
Yeah, so basically we didn't used to have that feature in. We used current data from users, took an average, and then we took into consideration someone not having all the information available, versus someone that does have all the information available to come up with them times.
Cool. And also there are a couple sections where they're asked like a really dense amount of information to recall. And for us, we found it pretty interesting where rather than asking them to explicitly mention it, maybe provide segments or timeframes. For example, one issue we came across was how long do people stay in certain, have lived in accommodation, and we went through compliance. They realized that you don't really need the time. You kind of just need to say less or more than 3 years. I want to know, like, so especially for you guys, there's a lot more information that people have to recall. I think there's even at one point where there's like, how much money do you spend on fuel a month kind of thing. And I want to know, like, firstly, like, do users find that easy to go through? Have you found that users are like hiccuping at these steps? How are users finding that?
Yeah, so the journey that you're seeing now is sort of an evolution of where we started. But we've asked these questions ourselves and looked at the data we had. We asked some users what the pain points were. So a good example is income and expenditure. So basically, we were just asking how much you spend on this, how much you spend on that, and it was quite a lot of questions. But what we do now is we use ONS data, which is basically what the lenders use anyways. And we pre-populate based on house size, dependents, everything like that. And we give the user, we think you spend this much. And then it's just an easier experience because they get to that section, they're like, okay, I spend this much per month, which we've found most people know how much total they spend. Maybe don't know how much they spend on fuel, but then we can give them an idea. But if they definitely know, oh, I spend that much on like Sky or on my mobile phone, they can change it. And to get that experience right was quite a challenge because obviously if you want someone to change an input, we've got a slider at the top to say total amount. We need to like disable that. If someone wants then the slider back, we need to re-enable that. So it was quite a good process to go through that, and it was sort of like a challenge between UX best practice versus what we want to actually give the user. So. And
how accurate do users need to be in order to like? I mean, of course, I guess for compliance issues. But like, I mean, it's as you said, it's not far-fetched that someone might not be able to know the exact amount they spend. So if they do, like, if they are off by like 10, 50 pounds, does that affect their process much? Or
in terms of being highly accurate to the penny, it's not too much of a worry because obviously the advisor at the end will confirm a lot of this information anyways. It's sort of our journey to get it's our job, sorry, not journey. It's our job to make sure that the journey allows the user to input the most accurate data possible to save the advisor time. So there's a trade-off between someone spending time on the website and going through the onboarding process, going through the full fact find, versus the amount of time the advisor spends at the other end making sure that all that data is correct. So it's our job in between to say, okay, how do we make this as easy as possible so someone gives us the the most accurate data, which we felt that the ONS for income and expenditure was the solution to that.
And once again, we're in this place where we're asking a lot of like really personal information as well.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, like really incremental personal information on people's lives. So how do you design for trust? It's the session I want to ask. What kind of language, is any kind of visuals, any kind of tone that you use?
Yeah. So tone of voice is really important to us, and we did a lot of work around it, and conversational questions and stuff like that was sort of fundamental to gain that trust. But obviously there's easier way to gain trust. So there's sort of like Trustpilot, which is all of our reviews. Because we have a really strong Trustpilot, and a lot of people who experience Mojo Mortgages have said it's great. We put that at the very start. It adds so much value, so much trust at the start anyways. Obviously winning awards, like putting that above the fold on the landing page, and then referring to it throughout the journey obviously creates trust. But obviously getting the user to a point of understanding that their data is secure. So, okay, what's our proposition as Mojo Mortgages? Our proposition is we can make them getting a mortgage easy, but we'll also secure all your data. So everything that we ever gather, we'll never share. We'll always keep in a secure place. Our developers are very, very talented at understanding what the security risks are and everything like that. And nailing that part of it.
Also, we're talking a bit earlier about like the questions they have to go through and trying to make it easier on the personal advisors at the end. Do you think that proposition itself, having the fact that you have personal advisors at the end, adds to the trust, or does it kind of deter away from it? Like, how does that, as a proposition, translate to users?
Yeah, well, that's our whole proposition. So we use technology to enable advisors to service customers in a better way. So the experience of the customer is not just our website and our onboarding process and getting the results and being in the dashboard and account, but it's also speaking to the advisor. And then the advisor sort of goes through a lot of questions in terms of like, okay, what are you actually looking for? Like all them types of things. And then just the whole thing together and the whole experience together is something that we're very proud of, and it's sort of our main proposition. And
do users are they do they respond well to the fact that they're being taken away, essentially being taken away outside of a online journey?
Well, it's something that we're really trying to understand. So at the moment, we don't ever want to hard sell or cold call or anything like that. So basically what we do at the end of the journey is we say, okay, here's your results. Understand the results, study the results, and then when you're ready, you book an appointment with the advisor. Then you get 30 minutes with a dedicated advisor to say, okay, we think this is the amount of time that we need and that you need to understand what you need from a mortgage.
And could you ever, if you so choose to, bypass the advisor, or is that part of the process that you have to go through?
No, that's part of the process. Cool. Definitely. I mean, we'll experiment with different things like live chat. Like maybe reduce the amount of time on the call, make the advisor more efficient in that way, but still provide that personal experience to the user. Definitely.
Makes sense. And I guess like the final journey you want to jump into is something that's happened over the recent months, which is your integration with Monzo. So we'll just jump into the journey now. We jump into sort of like the latter end of the journey, where what you have here is basically just asking a couple more questions. I believe the Monzo journey is remortgaging only. Jump into that end of the journey, and then what you see the user go through is checking the terms and the conditions, which both jump you off the app, but into Mojo's terms and conditions pages. You're able to sort of confirm that you've read it, and then after that, I think there's a really nice confirmation page at the end, which kind of takes you through the next journeys. Well, I mean, before you even get to that, there's cards with the initial quotes, which I think are pretty cool, and I've got a few questions about. Then you're allowed, as you said, with a normal process, you're allowed to book time with the advisor, and then you're given like a timeline of how things work after this. So I guess like for me, the first question was, why only remortgaging?
So that was something that Monzo wanted to try. So basically, they wanted to understand whether or not someone who has a bank account with them would like to remortgage, and obviously the mortgage process is really difficult anyways. they saw our journey and decided, okay, using our API, we think our users can go through an easier process of getting a mortgage.
Yeah.
So them choosing remortgage only at the moment is because that's what they wanted to do.
And is that how did that relationship come about? Did they approach you guys first, or?
Yeah, so we have a landing page which displays our partner platform, basically outlining what we can provide in terms of APIs and in terms of a solution for a partner to come on board and say, okay, you can offer this solution to your users. And then they worked very closely with the platform squad and Eddie, our CPO, and Mark, our director of engineering, to really understand what they wanted from the journey and how we can help them.
And with integrations, we've had like Filippo from Flux here, who are also like an integration with Monzo for receipts. I find it interesting that you are somewhat at the beck and call of the suppliers, providers, UI design system. So for me, I'm always intrigued to find out how much input did you have on how it looked. I mean, even there you have a progress bar, which you guys don't currently have on. So was that something that you guys included, or did Monzo request that?
So basically, in terms of the journey and the process that Monzo went through, obviously they had a team dedicated to the front end and what they wanted to do with it, but obviously using inspiration from our journey. And obviously our API sort of dictates what data they can get back at certain points. So it became quite similar to what we were doing anyways. And then we just sort of guided in the right way how the user journey from our point of view and what we've tested and researched worked. So and to be honest, Monzo were really talented anyway. So it was sort of an opportunity for us to see, okay, how would they tackle the problem? It's quite nice to see that they come up with the same solutions. And then in terms of the progress bar, for us, it was more about the account section and how we give the user context to each section. Monzo's sort of like, you've got maximum 14 questions and then you get results. For us, it's more like nurturing that user through the process. Which I guess will come from if Monzo does well and all their users like it, all that integration will start to go onto their side as well.
That makes sense. And something I found really cool, I wanted to ask a few more questions, even for my learning personally, was the initial quotes card at the end. What you have is a summarized version of it with a few sort of headline rates, which then expand into like other rates, and there's some kind of data which don't make it into the summarized card form. I wanted to know, why didn't these particularly make it into? So I think like the kind of repayment doesn't make it into the headline form. Did you go through testing, or how did you kind of finalize to those top three? Rates? So it was sort of a really fine balance between compliance and what we wanted to show. So we understand as industry experts with our advisors, we understand what users look for and what's the most important. So that's what we wanted to display on the cards. Obviously, for compliance, there's certain things you have to show, but the user can then navigate to all of that information if they want to. So if they do want to know what type of repayment it is, that they can navigate to that and see that. I think that'll sort of, as we gather more data, we'll start to understand what else do they want to see from that product card, and it'll evolve over time. And especially because these are people who have remortgaged, it would be safe to assume that they know a lot of the terminology that are going on here, but nonetheless you included tooltips to help them. Where does that come from? Did that come from testing, or is that just because you guys felt the need to not make assumptions?
I think you've nailed it right there. It's not to make assumptions, and rather than, if someone got stuck, like they'll either bounce, they'll either call up and say, what does this mean, or they'll go off and Google it. It's just easier and a better experience to give a user a tooltip. So if the question is asked in a certain way that can give them that context, then do that. But if they need a tooltip, give them a tooltip.
Makes sense. I think that's all the journeys we have for today. So I guess before you go, a couple of things we want to ask. Firstly, is there anything in particular about like Mojo Mortgages. You excited about anything coming up in the near future that you can, of course, tell us?
Yeah, there's loads of exciting things. So My Mojo is the next big thing coming. Yeah. So My Mojo will be the account section that basically allows users to navigate a product as a product should be navigated. So basically from everything from starting a new application to having multiple applications to editing an application to getting the results to uploading your documents to booking a call with the advisor at whichever point you want to book the call, to giving the user context as to when they've spoke to the advisor, what happens next. A nice progress bar to say, okay, you're here, we've submitted to the lender. The lender's then requested this, that'll all live within My Mojo. And then at the very end when you've completed, this is sort of your mortgage, all of the information that you will ever need to know throughout your fixed term or whatever mortgage you take. And then, it just allows the user to have an all-in-one place to have them things. And then the second thing is, as part of My Mojo, we'll have partners, so insurance, and wills and everything like that. And all these products that will start coming into it will sort of live within My Mojo. We'll have a marketplace tab for users to go in, navigate to, and if they need, like, say, home insurance, because you need home insurance to buy a house, we can provide quotes for that, and it's a nice place for them to sort of have everything in one place.
And I think it's interesting how you said with My Mojo, you give them, I guess, more context to how the mortgage is going over time. So I guess you guys don't want to hand over the mortgage process to like the providers. You guys want to keep them on My Mojo throughout the
exactly. Well, we keep them at the moment. Basically, we have customer success managers that manages someone's application. So if they've ever got like a question or anything like that, or need help with someone, they'll contact us directly, and then we'll sort it out. So even if it's something with a solicitor, you contact our customer success manager, and they'll sort it out. That they'll chase the solicitors or they'll chase the lenders. So it's sort of it's a nice place for someone to go to and get reassurance that things are moving. Because I think when you're getting a mortgage, especially through my experience a long time ago, was in terms of understanding where things are and what are the next steps. That's the biggest challenges in terms of I don't know what's going on, so I need something to tell me what's going on. So this could be a nice place for someone just to log on the phone or log on when they're on the laptop or whatever and say, okay, I know my customer success manager has done this and they're about to do this. So I don't need to call them up now.
And all of that, if you do want to call them, if you didn't want to, all of that will show up on My Mojo. Regardless of that's pretty cool. And something we saw in the news recently is a partnership with YouInsure. Could you tell us a bit more about that? Because I guess you touched on the marketplace. So what does that look like?
So basically we're sort of creating a marketplace for partners to come on board to provide products and services to our users. We felt like it was a really good opportunity for users to not feel so overwhelmed as to, I need to get house insurance, I need to get life insurance, I need to do all these things. It was sort of a nice opportunity to have it within our journey that says, okay, here's a quote, or here's how easy it could be to get this insurance through this. Like, by no means are we trying to hard sell or anything like that. It's more of a convenience for the user, and giving them the opportunity to have something like that there. And over time, as My Mojo grows, that'll grow. So.
And where do you guys see the design of Mojo Mortgages going forth in the future? I think it's, for me in particular, it's pretty interesting that you guys have, especially because it's quite a serious task you're undertaking, you guys have like opted for a more serious kind of UI, not too heavy with the illustrations or the colors. It's kind of very much to the point, appended with conversational language, which kind of helps you through the journey, but it's very much like, you're not seeing the big illustration, you're not seeing the big colors that you're kind of more used to these days. So where do you guys see that changing, or just staying the same?
So we're kind of going through that process at the moment. It was really important for us to provide a really not simple solution, but really like a solution that was easy to understand. A solution that was sort of minimal in terms of like not trying to overwhelm the user. So now it's our job to sort of understand what is the best way to go, whether it's illustrations or whether it's photography or whether it's a mixture of both. the types of colours we use, we predominantly use blue at the moment because it's a nice trust colour. In terms of like evolving our brand as well, I think we've definitely nailed our brand values. We just need to sort of have the visuals to back that now. So we're going through that process at the moment as well, but we're also spending a lot of time creating a design system. So everything that the user will see on the front end, so UI elements, everything like that, will be consistent across everything.
Exciting.
So that's quite a big project that's really exciting to work on. It just creates that environment for designers to go in and know exactly what is required and what is expected, and create that consistency and high standard of design throughout the whole thing.
Exciting times ahead for you guys. Now we'll look forward, and I'm sure to get some journeys up on Pulse as well, so like our users can keep up to date with where you guys are at.
We did that.
But I think that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stop by next week for more insights and user journeys. Once again, if you want to see more of 11FS Pulse, head over to pulse.11fs.com, where you can also request a demo. If you've got any questions about the products or want to suggest a journey for us to include on our platform or the show, hit us up at pulse11fs.com or find us on Twitter at 11FSPulse. And Daniel, where can people find out more about you guys, Mojo Mortgages, online, Twitter ads?
Just go to mojomortgages.com, pretty much find everything there.
Sweet.
Mojo Mortgages UK at Twitter.
Perfect. And thanks again for coming down. It's been an absolute
pleasure.
And guys, we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Homescreen is a show all about product design, where we showcase some of the best examples of user experiences from the 11FS Pulse research platform. Pulse is what our customers use to do their benchmarking, and it includes over 2,500 user journeys from financial service products all around the world.